Tiny cars have always had a place in car culture, but lately we've seen things shrink to a whole new level, and yeah, EV tech has a lot to do with that. Small motors, compact batteries, and suddenly microcars make way more sense than they ever did before. And now there's a new name popping up all over the place in that space, Astraux. If you've been scrolling Instagram and wondering why this little car keeps showing up in your feed, you're not alone. Astraux is a Dubai-based brand that recently jumped into the micro-EV scene, with a lineup of tiny vehicles that, depending on local laws, can be driven by people as young as 14. That alone tells you who this thing is aimed at. Dense cities, short trips, and a new generation that's growing up electric first. What's funny is that Astraux didn't actually start with cars. Before this, they were behind a little AI robot pet called Eamon, kind of like a modern Tamagotchi you can clip onto your bag or belt loop. The car itself is called the AL, and at the moment it's pre-sale only. What really grabs attention, though, is the price. The most basic AL starts at just 5,990 euros, which is roughly $7,000 in today's money. There are higher trims too, with the AL7 Pro topping out at 9,990 euros, though that one isn't part of the pre-sale deal. Under the skin, the AL uses a steel load-bearing structure, so this isn't some ultra-featherweight toy. Astraux also throws around the word monocoque, but in reality, most of what you see is glass, doors, and hatches. In fact, they claim the doors alone make up about 80% of the body. That's amazing for visibility and access, but yeah, it does make you wonder how this thing would fare in proper safety testing. Power comes from a rear-mounted electric motor putting out up to 10 kilowatts, or about 13 horsepower, running on a 72-volt system. The Pro version tops out at 90 kilometers per hour, which is honestly plenty for city use, and really the only place something like this should be driven anyway. With a curb weight of around 510 kilos, keeping speed sensible is kind of the whole idea here. Range depends on which version you go for. The entry-level AL6 claims up to 80 kilometers on a full charge, while the AL7 Pro stretches that to about 150 kilometers, thanks to a 10.58 kilowatt-hour battery. Sure, those are ideal numbers, but even hitting 70% of that in real-world driving would be totally usable. School runs, errands, quick commutes, and leaving the big fuel-hungry car parked at home all start to make sense. What really surprised me is how close these numbers are to the Microlino, that modern take on the BMW Isetta we've covered before. The big difference is price. The Microlino costs almost double what Astraux is asking for, even the most expensive AL, and that's a huge win on paper for Astraux. Inside, things stay minimal. You get a 2-seat bench, very few buttons, a simple gear selector for drive, park, and reverse, go-kart style pedals, and a steering wheel that kind of looks premium, even if it isn't. It's basic, but that's clearly the point. Then Astraux throws in some curveballs. They talk about an onboard projector that can turn the cabin into a karaoke room or a gaming space, but how that actually works isn't clear yet. Is it built in? Do you bring your own projector? No idea. There's also mention of the AL being a drone companion, which sounds cool, but again, no real explanation so far. Astraux does promote these cars as drivable from age 14 and up, but that completely depends on where you live, and in most countries, that won't fly. And one last thing worth mentioning, the ALs aren't actually built in Dubai. Production happens in China. So, yeah, would you drive something like this? Or let your kid drive it, where legal? Let me know what you think.